What's up, guys? Steven here, and today I'm just chilling. No, I'm just kidding. So it's funny. I think I found a good. I might have found a good potential hack to come up with daily videos. So essentially, as I mentioned, I started waking up early as fuck, and then running, and then going to the gym after that. And what I've noticed is essentially when I come back from the gym, there's that switching of gears from um, essentially all this physical to moving to an intellectual or mental work, like sending out emails, um, social media engagement, all this stuff is such a shift for me that essentially what would happen, I just come and I just plop on the couch and just die for hours. So I was trying to think, well, fuck, that kind of makes waking up useless because I end up wasting all that time, right? That whole morning or whatever. And I just realized, came up with this idea that I don't know if it's gonna be sustainable. I think it will if right when I come back, I just create a video. Because I've always noticed working out just makes me feel so much better, but it gets me thinking really quality shit. Like, usually when I'm working out, I tend to have a fuck ton of amazing ideas. Maybe it's stuff on marketing that I've been thinking about. Maybe it's huh, oh yeah, I had a conversation with so and so, and shit, I wish I could talk to them more because I just thought of something that I had not mentioned through our conversation, right? All these things, for example, in the past, I've had created that whole series that fucking, or essentially, there's a time when I was literally running to the gym, and right when I got there, it felt like there was all along the way there was a fuck ton of golden nuggets that just it would be kept popping in my head, and right when I get there, I just beast blast it, right, so I wouldn't lose it. So I feel like by doing that, right when I get home, doing the vlog, just kind of shooting the shit on what's on my mind, maybe things I want to get done today, things that happen. It will kind of help me just segue into that more intellectual work, right? So kind of doing that. This first day, it's going pretty well. It's funny. On the way home from right when I left, I actually popped out a video because shit had just been. I was talking to the gym owner because so I'm a web designer, so I have a solid um, deal with him to where I help him. So I built that website, design it, I manage it, administrate it, all that, and then I get membership at the gym, so I'm able to essentially work out for free, right? And at the same time too, I'm really passionate about helping people, especially with the digital medium. So I've been trying to maybe help him with the social media and the digital marketing aspect of his business, right? So he's kind of planning. He has this service that they offer. It's laser hair removal, and it's essentially to help people take care of not just hair removal, but dead skin or shit that say maybe he had an accident or operation surgery, or even maybe you lost weight really quickly and that excess fat or that fat loss, drastic loss, just kind of made left some marks in your 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 skin, right? So you have weird veins and shit. And so the technology that he has, he's able to actually um, get rid of that. He's smoothing. There is a lot of details that goes into it. I haven't fully read into it, but it's essentially supposed to be going to more of a deeper layer in the skin, and so it's able to actually repair it in that way using sun radiation, right? So it's essentially a laser that kind of lasers out um, unwanted parts of your skin, and then it also works in removing hair, right? So you're able to go to the root of the hair follicle as opposed to just cutting on the superficial layer like razors and stuff like that. And suppose it's like much less. It's very. It's nearly pain free. Like there are some parts where like if you, it's like bare skin, right? Like that are somewhat painful, but for the most part, it's much more. Um, it's on a lower pain. It's on the lower end of the pain scale compared to all the other methods and options out there. And we're just kind of talking about building a landing page for it and like ways to market it. And like after that conversation, I was just still thinking about this shit, and then all of a sudden, like I created this video that just went like, cause like that conversation kind of led me to thinking about just his marketing and even the marketing in general. And then like when I created the video, it just led to something more like global development and like all this other shit. And it's just amazing to see how like one thing leads to another, which leads to another, which leads to another. So that whole idea of momentum and like execution and the snowball effect and just taking action on shit that you believe wholeheartedly to be good, right? Coming, especially if you're coming from a good place. And so it was just like, just mind blowing to kind of just recap that right now. But it just made me think about how, like, every time that I work out, it tends to put me in a state of mind where I feel virtuous in a sense. Like my ideas tend to be way more higher quality, and they tend to come out more developed, right? So that was just fucking interesting to think about. But another thing that I've been having on my mind is just the fucking this whole idea of vibes, right? Like vibes are so fucking huge, right? And it's not just about like having people. I think, well, for me, recently I just come to realize that I really want to like enjoy the people that I talk and interact with on a really deep level. Like I want to be able to go somewhere and actually be able to shoot the shit with them, right? Whether it's a client or whatever. I mean, if it's a client, then like there's more or less of a leeway. But my point is like I no longer really want to give my time and energy to people to whom I feel like every time I'm with them, it literally feels like I'm being dragged down mentally, or I feel like I have to like hold my breath because this person might go off, or like I might set them off in one or the other. Because like at the end, that's just no fun, right? Like I fully am coming to realization then that it's really that whole resonance, like resonating with someone, and like emotional resonance, especially like being able to be like-minded in heart, body, mind, and soul with someone is so important because going forward, that's that energy that's going to essentially seep into everything else that you're doing, right? That's what's going to help you gain the inner fortitude and strength to take action when you need to without or with little to no resistance, right? It's like it's kind of scary to think about, but really when you remember that like everything kind of plays into everything else, and like the whole like the people you surround with essentially shape who you become, because then you're like, ah, fuck, so that means I just can't fuck up ever. But I feel like it's almost liberating because it makes you not have to worry when something doesn't work out with someone, because you know that you're essentially giving respect to that natural filtering process, right? Like nature has designed you to really click with some people and not click with others. And so by you maintaining that to the highest degree and making it your priority, you're keeping that space pure or open so like the right people fucking come in, right? Like you don't want to be having the kind of life where you're always chasing after people, right? Like, you want to have the kind of life where the people who are in your life actually want to be there, right? Like, when you text them, they text you back. When you tell them that, hey, we should do something, they're as enthusiastic to want to do something too, right? Like, now everyone's fucking busy, everyone's got their shit. But on some level, you always want to feel like if you're emotionally in tune with someone, instead of just constant like, right? Because like at the end, you'll feel like you're burning yourself out, and I feel like that's why, like for example, in pickup or guys who are always trying to go out and meet girls and like bang them, or even people who are just going out trying to socialize, they feel like social becomes a chore or becomes draining because I feel like we're just spending our time with the wrong people, right? Maybe it's like society says, dude, this guy so and so, you need to fucking get in with him. When in reality, I mean, what could that person really do for you, right? When if you actually talked to and met and hung out and banged the people that genuinely wanted to talk and meet and hang out and bang you, it will almost literally feel like it's no effort. Like it's just like this fucking wave of like um, energy, like that's just constantly being provided and given, provided and given. Like this two-way street that's perfectly swaggy as fuck in a way that it's built because it's sound. Like both parties are in it, as opposed to when one person is not really right. They're just it's like I don't know, you're just there and they don't have any other option. And it sounds really weird, but I just really been on my mind, like fucking positive vibes, drink responsibly, some rock. I'm just kidding, dude. That was fucking funny. The Saturday Night Live with DJ Khaled. But yeah, it's all about the positive vibes because that's what makes you really appreciate your work, right? Like you can have a shitty job, but just because you have that one coworker who makes it such a fucking blast, you'll stay in because you have such a positive experience. Just enjoying life, enjoying the hustle, enjoying the process with that person, right? That's probably why in a lot of organizations, like when that one person leaves, everyone just fucking leaves. Right? Positive vibes. Positive, positive, positive vibes. But also another thing, and this I think I really hesitated to put this out there because I don't want to become like fucking like, oh, I got the scoop. Get these guys. Guess is what? Like I want people to actually be able to trust me. Like if they say something and maybe has that pulse of it being uh, like a private conversation, I want to honor that, right? But then I was like, maybe this would actually help some other big businesses, right? So I recently met and like talked to a friend who is working for like a major company. I think it's like Dell, yeah. And he was talking about how like just the way it's structured, it's so hard to enact any form of change in the like company because maybe if something, for example, isn't working, they have to go through the support system, right? And like they have to wait and wait and wait for the thing to get done, right? And like on some level, at first I was like, bro, you should just create content that like talks about this and like gives your solution. And he was saying that to do that you gotta be like a certified this and that to be able to speak and um, from speak for Dell, etc. But I was like, at first, I was like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. But I was like, no, dude, and this is would be a perfect example of what I'm always talking about. Like, um, it's not about talking for them, but it's about creating a resource, not just for yourself, but for newcomers that later on they can look on and it can help them navigate the structure, right? Like I was telling him, hey, like why don't you guys like create content that essentially helps people navigate the corporate structure? Maybe like, hey, oh, that's another thing. Like the other day, I was like, dude, a fucking game changer for a company, like a big business. And I even told my brother this, right? Like, um, say for example, you're working on a talent acquisition program, right, for your company, like a huge one, a fucking amazing game changer, getting insane talent, or even helping your recruiting efforts, is to create content around what that position entails. So in my head, when I was thinking about this the other day, I was like, dude, fucking take a GoPro, strap it to your head, and it'll be like the day, a day of, or a day in the life of a software engineer. So you see this guy, you get, you know how it's like that first person point of view, right? You see him getting in his car, getting into work. I saw it walking in the building. Maybe like he grabs like a donut. Then he goes to his desk. He like it says like maybe you see him typing on the computer, like answering emails. And then like you have someone coming in like 10 minutes. He's like, "Hey man, we're about to start the meeting." Right? And then he goes in, and then like you see the scene cuts to like the meeting, right? And then like they're like giving reports on what's going on, what's needed from the developers and stuff like that. Then you go back to he goes back to his desk, and you see him like taking maybe he took notes in the meeting, and you see him now taking those notes and then like executing on it. So maybe sending out new emails based on the meeting, and then you see the development work, and that's a huge fucking game changer because that provides massive insight into what the company actually needs, like as far as platform or tools, technologies, etc. Right? Like you see him coding using C++ or HTML, right? CSS or Java. Like you see him actually doing that. That would be so insightful to see in a video because now it's not. You've gone from taking this concrete idea because a job listing or an ad listing advertising a job is it, I mean it's you go from an abstract. It's very abstract. Like when you say position, job, software engineer, like what the fuck does that mean, right? Like people don't really know. Even when you list the duties and shit, it doesn't visually register. So you go from that to now a video that fully visually shows what that entails. That would be fucking huge. And that would capture so many people's attention, especially if you like boost it. Use maybe Facebook advertising to target those particular people. Maybe interests are C++, interests are programming language, interests are programming courses, right? You use those capabilities. That would be huge because now they're like, oh shit, I fucking know this shit. This looks sick. Like, I want to have a life like that. I mean, or that sounds like a pretty cool day to have as a reality. And then they click and apply. And that would really fucking help with getting good talent, right? Because a lot of the times, it's just like a failure or an inability to communicate exactly what you need from them that causes people not to apply. Like, especially if it's like badly written or bad copy, it sounds like there's just a bunch of fucking details and it just gives you a headache when you're reading it. Most of the time, you just won't go through the struggle. Unless, or maybe you're just in a crunch and you're just spam resume or spam applying, you're not even reading. It's like dope. But when you make it so clear, that's so epic. That's a true fucking game changer. So that's a great way of essentially creating an epic talent acquisition program or doing recruiting for your company, right? Creating epic content that shows the day in the life of that position, right? But back to what I was telling him though is like, if he creates this content from his perspective, like, hey, this is my experience working at this place, and like based on what I've learned, the amount of time I've been here, these are the things that I've gleam to be important. This is the person that you should probably talk to, right? And like become not not buddy up or fucking brown nose and stick your nose in their ass, but genuinely actually make a connection with them, make friends with them. This is the place that you should go to if you have a question. Like, this guy is really knowledgeable, but don't fucking bother him because he doesn't want to become like your go. He doesn't want to um he doesn't want to be distracted from his work because he's constantly helping you, right? Like, these are the places in the company that are really cool to work or really cool to do some like 5 o'clock drinking at, or really cool to like meet people, right? This and that. And it's so cool because that's what humanizing your business is about. That, and even the idea I just mentioned about doing a talent acquisition thing, that's what it is. That's humanizing your position because it's not just a listing anymore. It's not just words, but it's now visuals, image, audio, and 3D experience, a multi-dimensional experience that people can relate to, right? And my point is, by you doing that, like, it's almost like you're creating this little bubble in this giant fucking massive company. But this little bubble is an extremely valuable resource because when people go to it, they're able to be better at their job. They're able to navigate through that structure, navigate through that corporate politic bullshit so much easier. And by doing that, it saves time and energy because now instead of them pointlessly bothering people, they just know what to do. Now instead of pointlessly just like trying to do weird shit that ends up fucking them up anymore anyways, they just end up doing the right thing. And by you doing that, you're inspiring other people who are higher up to do the same thing because we all want to see everyone else succeed, especially when someone is willing to put in the work and effort to do it. Especially even better if the person is truly wanting to move the company forward, right? And in my head, when I was thinking about that, I'm like, dude, that's how major companies like that can still retain that scale while essentially going back to that um, element of agility and like moving fast that got him to that success, right? Because you have to remember, like a million plus people company or like a company that big, like that's a lot of fucking people. Like that's a huge infrastructure, and so like it does make sense that for a change to occur, it takes time because there's all these other shit that has to change to enact that change essentially. But if it's like if the individuals empower or be make, it sounds really cheesy, make power moves that essentially not just help the infrastructure, um, I don't want to say deal with less, but move in a more efficient way by having a better understanding of how it works. The company as a whole is able to move faster, right? It's kind of like having a big fucking guy, right? Who's like, ah, like my mom, or we have this joke in my family, like they don't want me to become like one of those bodybuilders that's like really big and walks like this. Which, by the way, is caused because of a lack of circulation, right? When um, you don't do yoga or you don't do some kind of like energy circulation routine, you end up having kinks in muscle or body, and so it results in like your muscle constantly being and having kinks or being in states of contraction, which results in reduction in mobility, reduction in flexibility, reduction in range of motion, which results in like weird postural imbalances and all this shit, right? But essentially, to fix that, just go get a massage, massage yourself, and then do things that like actually stretch that movement. So, me for example, like I have at the end of every workout, I have like a plyo section that like kind of stretches all those muscle groups. And you can see that in the workout videos I posted. youtube.com/OneWaveOrg, and you can look at the playlists. But it's like taking a big guy and then, as I just mentioned, improving his circulation, and because of that, now he loses that like rigid big walking, and he's able to actually move fluidly again, right? It's the same thing you do with your with your big business. Like, you allow them, or you even inspire them, you encourage them to create content around working or being in your company, and then that'll like naturally cause them to essentially bring forth insights, things that they've noticed from their level, from their perspective and point of view, that essentially could help someone who's coming up and maybe about to be in that same position or something else. And on top of that, also gives you valuable data insights on the overall efficiency of your organization, right? It kind of gives you a better direction of where you should deploy your attention, like what you should be focusing on developing, right? Maybe you need to focus on like training people better. Maybe you need to focus on like less policies so that people feel like they can do more and be more expressive. Things like that. Like it's like content always helps, right? And the more people feel like they can actually do things like that, the more they'll do it, because they always want to help. They always want to provide value. At the end, it helps company win. It helps company, if they're operating better, they're able to do more work, which results in more revenue, right? Which results in more quality service, which results in more brand equity and all those things. And it just keeps snowballing. Small things done right, big results that you love. Fuck yeah, that sounded so good. Yes. Those moments when my English doesn't fail me. Yes. Fucking shit. But yeah, it's all about fucking vibes and how you make people feel. People don't remember the things you did for them, but they remember how you made them feel. Anyways, hope you guys get something out of this, and as always, swag the fuck out.
Super Mario. T.